Episode of Coaching Class, and we are continuing today with the Sell with Soul series, and it's really all about helping you to grow your confidence and become a sales ninja. We're on session number 4, guys, and today we're going to be talking all things about having the mindset that sales is an engagement. And also it's a collaboration. So that's what we're going to be talking to you for the next few minutes around today on session 4. And of course, if you have not listened or tuned into any of the previous sessions, I would encourage you to go back into this series that we started a few weeks ago, which is, of course, by popular demand. From members of the group. I would encourage you to go back to the beginning of week 1 and work your way through, okay, because there's some really great nuggets that have been shared over the last few weeks. So welcome. Do drop, where you're tuning in from in the comments so that I know exactly who's on here with me if you are here live. And of course, for those of you who will be catching this on the replay, do let us know, #replay, so I can go back in, have a look at the comments and connect with you there. Now, as part of this series on Selling with Soul, I've got an important question. All the questions I ask are pretty important, but I want to ask you this particular question. And it's a question that you might think, well, that's a bit weird, Nettie, why are you asking me? And it is really this: how do you really look at sales? We talked a lot about mindsets and shifting and the different ways that people have viewed old style sales. But how do you today, right now, really look at sales? And the reason that I ask that, I'd love for you to put a comment in, by the way, and I will check it and have a look at it later. And the reason I ask is there is a mindset, of course, that you need to adopt before you can really, really engage with a prospective client in the right way. And in my world, as an entrepreneurial coach, who has a proper sales mindset, you're not coming from a place of selfishness, definitely not, okay? You're not coming from a place of it's all about you, it's all about you winning the sale, it's all about you, getting another XYZ amount in your pocket. Absolutely. It's not an us versus them kind of situation, okay? Where you've got to feel like you're pushing your product or you're pushing your service onto that prospective person. And for me, and when we teach, inside of the academy, it's definitely quite the opposite. And for me, it's more around having, a different mindset, a mindset based not on pushiness, not on forcefulness, but instead it's about you collaborating yourself with the prospective client and having the mindset where you're getting engaged and working together to find a solution to their high value problem. Okay, so that's kind of how we view it inside of Power Up Coaching Academy and what we teach our clients. There's no forcing, there's no you forcing anything. There's no battle of the wills. There's no like hard feelings. There's no feeling pressure and all those things that you may get in a traditional sales type of scenario, okay, when someone doesn't have a relationship-based sales mindset. Instead, what we teach is you're collaborating with your client, you're engaging them into the process you're doing. So it's with them, okay? So it's not to them, it's not for them, or it's not without them. Does that make sense, everyone? When I worked in the restorative justice field and social care, we had this framework and it was called the social control framework. And that's kind of what prompted my mind to talk about how we need to be working with our clients, because usually what happens is that professionals tend to do things to people, okay, in a social framework. They tend to do things for people because they generally can't do them themselves, or they tend to do things, without consent. And that is not the way to do it. So in this particular process around sales, we want to be making sure that we are doing things with any prospective clients to help them reach their goals. All right, so that's kind of like my little intro to this very short, session with you today. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nettie Bryan. I'm bringing you another lesson, of course, in the series of Selling with Soul. I'm also the founder of Power Up Coaching Academy, the creator of the Power Up Business Breakthrough Master Plan. We've recently upgraded, we've changed the name, and it's now called, our proprietary framework is called the Business Breakthrough Master Plan. And of course, I am a money coach, as many of you may know, and I created the Money and Me coaching programs, which I will be bringing out to the forefront a little bit later on some time. Now, if you're here for the first time, do say hi, let us know. I'll be watching the comments, as I mentioned before, and of course, I'll be making sure that I respond to them after the session. So, what do we really mean? If I take it back into the subject we're talking about, what do we really mean by a sales is an engagement and a collaboration? What do we really mean? We mean that sales is an engaged process that involves two people. It's not a done to you situation or done without your consent situation or a done for you situation, unless you've already engaged in a conversation, of course, with a prospective client about what outcomes they want and if your service is the right service to meet their needs. Now, here's the thing. Your prospective client is, definitely looking for a way out of a problem. That's the reason why people tend to seek out coaching. They're looking for a solution to a problem that they're facing. And of course, if you handle the sales call really, really well, you just might be the answer to their prayers. That's how I look at anything. When I'm engaging in conversations with prospective clients, I see what it is that I have in my coaching arsenal, what I have in terms of my skill set and my repertoire. And I think, right, great, this will meet, that potential prospect's needs. But it's not about me doing that. They have to come to the conclusion that I am the right person for them. And I have to come to the conclusion that they are the right fit also for us. So, it's a crucial step in signing on new clients to really, number one, get to understand their needs, right? You might not think this is important, but it so is. And the only way to be able to truly do that is to be totally engaged in the process. Be present, don't be off doing other things. Make sure you understand, that your job is to gather as much information from them as you possibly can. And then the next step is for you to present them with evidence. Not many people put it this way, but you've got to present them with the evidence about your offer. And, the evidence being why they should choose you over somebody else. What is it that your solution, your system can do, your framework can do for them over somebody else's? Why is it a good choice for them to choose to work with you? Okay, that's really what you've got to be doing. You've got to present your case to that prospective client so that they make that conscious decision to say yes to you at the end. I hope that's making sense to everyone. But you might be saying to yourself, that sounds really great, Nettie, but how do you do that? And the other question is, how do you do it well? All right. And the way that you do that is by being able to communicate what you have to offer in a way that makes sense to your prospect. It's got to make sense to them. And the other thing that you've got to consider here is also about being able to showcase your roadmap, your solution, or as I like to call it, your expert signature system. And the reason why you want to be able to communicate that really well is because when you have one of those, it's going to position you as an authority in that specific area and in the mind of your prospective client. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If it's not a perfect fit, when you've gone through this process, and many of you might have done in the past, and you find, oh my goodness, this isn't quite the right fit that I expected, perhaps what you might need to do or to consider doing is to look at what you have. What else do you have in your coach's toolkit? Or maybe you just need to package up a few offerings. You might be serving here and serving there. And the problem as to why people aren't signing up as often as you would like them to is because you don't have a specific roadmap. You don't have a specific system that you walk them through, and you're finding yourself that you're customizing so often for every single client. Now, of course, I'm not saying there hasn't got to be some type of customization, but not as much as perhaps you might have been doing before. Again, you need to consider that if you've got something else that, you're listening to them in the call and you're thinking, actually, this isn't a great fit, but maybe, a part of your other skill set might work, then just tap into that, tap into the other set of skills there. Try to get it into a framework of some kind if you want, just a few steps, 5 steps or 6 steps, so that you can showcase where you can take your client from and where you can take them to. Because remember, at this particular point, when you are in a sales call, your role really is to just help them and nothing more. Remember, we talked about getting them to a clear yes or no decision, and you showcase that by presenting what it is that you can do to help them. And I truly believe that, if you do approach sales in this way, you and your prospective client will feel as though you were on the same side. And that for me is really, really key. Okay, and what I mean by that is that they're going to feel as though you are working towards, just one common goal, and that is to get them to a yes or no decision, to clarify whether the service that you're offering is a right fit for them, and to clarify whether they are a right fit for you in your business model. Okay, and I think about it this way: it's actually a really good strategy. And if you use that as your foundation in your sales call, it's going to take a lot of tension out of the sales process. It really, really will. And the great thing about this particular method is having this approach and mindset. What it does for you, it also presents you from treating the potential client like a number, all right, or treating them like a potential sale. That's not what you want to do. It's all about relationship, because the truth is nobody wants to be sold to. Honestly, it's the worst thing ever. And I've experienced it many, many times, and it doesn't feel good. I've experienced it potentially lots of times, in the direct messages. I've had people ring me up. They've tried to cold call me, all sorts of things, and it just doesn't work. And if you've been someone that's happened to you and you're thinking, oh my goodness, just get off my phone, get out of my messaging. If that's happened to you, just put the word me in the comments as well. And I know, that one thing that people really, really hate about the general cold selling market is the general sales pitch. That's what people don't like, and the feeling that salespeople don't actually care about their customers' needs. And if you're in relationship-based sales, that is not the response. That is not the feeling that you are trying to attain. All right. But when you adopt a more engaged and more collaborative way of working with a prospective client, you really do see the person. That's what it's all about, person-centered care. You see them as an individual, you see them in a particular situation, and you see that they have a face, okay? That's really important. But you also see what challenges they're up against. And, you're able to make a good judgment as to whether your service can help them to overcome those specific challenges. And when you interact, this way with your potential clients in good faith and with good intentions, you're not going to feel like you're selling at all. It really won't. Honestly, it will shift you energetically, spiritually, emotionally. It's going to shift you because you're not selling. You are actually offering help. All right. And that's a key takeaway that I want you to have in terms of, if you're someone who's still struggling with a mindset for sales, thinking it's icky and everything else, I want you to consider that selling is serving and serving is selling. All right, my beautiful people, that's all I've got for you today. Nice and short and sweet for you. So if you want to learn more about, how you can start selling with soul and closing with class, I want you to drop the word sell in the comments, and we will reach out to you. If you've enjoyed this session today, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, please do share and invite someone to this group who you believe needs to hear some of the teachings that we have in here to support you in growing a successful and profitable coaching or ministry business in the marketplace. So before I do go, I like to give you just a piece of, homework or an action step, if you like, really. What I want you to do today is to reframe what you're doing with your customer, that is, selling, as thinking about it as working together with them to find the right solution. Okay, so it's just a mind reframe. So you're selling, yes, but I want to reframe it, as working together with them to find the right solution. And the question I have for you is, what would your conversation sound like? All right. And I'd love you to drop it in the comments for me so that I can know who's listening to this, what you're getting as a takeaway from it, and how we can probably help you to really overcome some of those challenges. All right, my beautiful ones, that's it from me. As always, may God bless you. May he keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace always. You take